a little bit better, but Rammus and solo queue, his ganks are really kind of game breaking sometimes. Like if you get fed with Rammus early, you just become this unkillable like machine, and it's really quite awesome to play. Like you're like, I'm Rammus and I'm never gonna die. That's honestly how I feel when I play Rammus when I get fed with him. And his ganks are like one of the strongest in the game. He's super tanky. And I think I probably overlooked him for quite a long time, but these recent buffs have shed some light on it, and so that's really why I'm moving him up to tier 2, because I really feel that he's quite a strong jungler now. Tryndamere has been moved up to tier 2. Tryndamere got a whole remake. He's got a rage system now, like Renekton, and it really helped his in laning phase. His top lane solo is actually quite strong now. It's really hard to push Tryndamere out of lane, and then as soon as you hit 6, you can't kill him anyways. It's impossible, right? Everything about him, he's got, the spin to get away, he's got the ultimate to stay alive for even longer, he's got the damage reduction, slow, plus, so it's good for ganks with his W, and he's got the increased damage and, massive health. But if you have 100 rage and you use Q, you heal for what is it, level 5? I think it's like, you heal for like 300 plus, depending on what items you have, right? So it's a good heal. And you can spam that every time it's up, because he also has, no mana. So it's really strong. And that's what I noticed about Tryndamere, is that that remake really helped out his laning phase. His jungling, I believe, got hit a little bit. It's not as good, but you can still jungle. Very good jungler, actually, as a DPS jungler. So he's even a better laner, a little bit worse jungler, but he's still viable in more roles now. So that is why I have moved him up. Nasus has been moved up to tier 2. One sec, water break. Sorry, Nasus. Nasus also got a remake. His Wither isn't affected by tenacity anymore. It's like Mercury Treads and all that stuff. The slow percentage isn't affected by it, I believe. I can't remember. Can't remember if it's the full duration is affected by it still, but the slow isn't affected. So you always get the full. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You always get a full amount of slow on his W now, even with like mercs and stuff like that. So it's really strong. And the best thing about this change is that his E is like that giant circle. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's actually a ranged nuke. It does damage up front and then persists and does a little bit of damage afterwards. So you can actually hit people. It's like you can't miss it. It's like the circle's like this big, and if you level it up, you're like, he goes like this, like spins his little staff thing and like hits, and it's just like, and then you chunk people. You can hit them for like a decent amount of damage, and then you just do that, spam, and then when you want to go in and finish, you just, W, Q, and then you R, and it's just like, holy fuck, Nasus just came out of nowhere and destroyed me. Like, Nasus is super strong versus a lot of champions, and when Nasus gets fed, Nasus fucks shit up. So, because of that, I have tier 2 up from tier 4. Pantheon, I moved up to tier 1. Pantheon moved up to tier 1 because his ability to snowball is just great. He's got the global ganks as well. I mean, if you set up global ganks and you know how to use that well, that's so tier 1 worthy. That's honestly why TF is still in tier 1 in solo queue, because the ability just to teleport around the map and provide ganks for your team truthfully wins games, because once you get a gank, you can take towers, you can take dragons, you can take buffs, you can take barons, you can take inhibitors. As long as you kill someone before a team fight starts, that's when you go take advantage of the map. And Twisted Fate and Pantheon both do that, and Pantheon's got a little remake a little while ago too, making his E a lot more viable. It does a little less damage. I think it does a little bit more damage, but it's on a shorter duration. It doesn't you don't poke as long. But the cooldown has also been dropped down by like half or something. It's like a 3-second cooldown or something ridiculous like that. So you can literally just spam Heartseeker Strike all day long, right? And then I think his Q got a little bit buffed as well. I can't say for sure. Either way, his Q is very strong. His W, I think, it got a flat change to just 1 second now, so you don't really have to level up W at all anymore. You just 1 wonder W, then you just max Q and E now, and you just do a lot of damage. And if you get a fed early, if you kill someone early, oh man, that game is pretty much over. Pantheon just snowballs so well. You just go around the map ganking and stuff like that. So as long as you capitalize with Pantheon, you as long as you win your lane and you capitalize with your teleport ganks, you win the game. And then that's why, truthfully, I moved up Pantheon to tier 1 because he's just so great at solo queue. I got Galio moved up to tier 2. Galio is actually kind of like a Yorick in the sense that he can take a lot of champions 1 versus 1, and he can farm really well too. His Q and his E farm just fantastic, and this is a champion I overlooked for a very long time, and I think since a whole bunch of other champions got nerfed, everyone's like, well, why aren't we playing Galio anymore? It's like, oh, I don't know. Everyone starts playing, we're like, damn, this guy's pretty good. And everyone's like, yeah, he is pretty good. And so that's one of the reasons I have moved him up, is because it's like everyone's like, oh shit, he's pretty good. I'm like, oh yeah, he is pretty good. I should move him up. What am I doing? And he plays a really to a lot of caster champions as well. So if you throw Galio up middle versus Annie and all those champions like that, he really just does work for us. I mean, he farms with them. They don't kill him. Because he works with magic resistance, right? So you get all that. You can get 30 magic resistance to level 1 or something ridiculous like that. And you get a chalice. You have 100 magic resistance. Casters are just like, oh, fuck my life. I hate laning for Galio. I had a buddy before season 1. He's like a 1200 elo player, and he's just raving him. He's like, oh my god, dude, all I do is go Galio middle, won 10 games in a row. I just said, let me go versus the casters, and I win every game. He's freaking out. I'm like, that's crazy, dude. Maybe I'll try it. And I tried it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. And CLG's been running it too, and a couple other teams been running Galio too. So it's like, this guy's not bad at all. I should really move him up. And then I was talking about AOE ultimates, those win games. Galio certainly has one, so he's definitely way more viable in the solo queues. So I have moved him up to tier 2 because of that. Kale has been moved up to tier 3 as well, basically because I thought I had her too low. Her remake changed her a bit, then she got a little bit of buffs, so I'm moving up to tier 3 because I think that's where she deserves to be. Nidalee has been moved down to tier 1. She got a little remake, making her not as good as she was before, but I still feel that Nidalee is very, very strong in solo queue, just in terms of lane control, map control with her wards, and the ability to just push non-stop still with really, nothing slowing her down. I mean, she beats tons and tons of champions in lane play Nidalee, and I really don't feel that she needs to be taken out of tier 1 just yet, and she also got a little bit of more buffs from her last change, so I really feel that Nidalee can stay in tier 1 for solo queue, and we'll see how she pans out. LeBlanc has been moved down to tier 3. Tier 3 for LeBlanc, I feel, suits her a lot better, because she's one of those champions, early game, if you get fed early game, you're like, oh yeah, I'm crushing everybody, oh yeah, but then that's like middle and late game, late mid game kind of rolls around, and you're like, damn, I really don't do fuck all anymore on LeBlanc. You really don't. LeBlanc is such a team focused champion that if you don't have a team working with you, and the other team just goes oh my god, the win is kill LeBlanc, and then everyone just fucking kills you because you're taking all the kills, you're doing so much damage early game, right? And they just kill you and you do nothing and your team sucks. That's how honestly, I played 50 games of LeBlanc last season or something, got in ranked, and I only had a 20% win ratio with her, yet my kill to death ratio was 3 to 1, 4 to 1. I had a pretty good kill to death ratio, and I was just astounded by I'm getting all these kills, I'm doing so much, but I never win my games, and that's because people realize all I have to do is kill this champion, and then you're screwed. And it really bugs me because she is super fun and she's super good, and she's actually, I think she's more viable in a competitive scene than she is in solo queue, because once you're in a competitive scene, you burst down time. That's just so, that's game changing. You're okay, so LeBlanc, what can LeBlanc do? Literally one shot someone like Poppy can, right? So if you do that on the enemy carry, you can literally just change the game. And as long as LeBlanc is supported with a good team, you go in the right time, say Amumu ultis, and then LeBlanc sneaks in and goes in, right? And then, all that shit and all the good competitive play shit that you should be doing, you don't get that support in solo queue. So that's truthfully the reason I'm moving her down, because it's super hard to carry with her. She's a great assassin, but she doesn't have the mobility like a Kassadin does. A Kassadin is just fucking goes in, gets the fuck out, right? LeBlanc goes in, gets the fuck out, can't go in and can't get out the fuck out for another 10 seconds. Kassadin's 2 seconds, back in, back out, right? Kassadin doesn't give a shit. And Kassadin also has better, I think Kassadin's delivery bit better. He doesn't do as much single target damage, but he can do it. He can do it more consistently. So that's why I have put him in tier 1. If you might be wondering why, well, why is LeBlanc tier 3 if Cassian is like an assassin champion and he's tier 1? It's because he does it consistently. He does it better. His mobility is better. His laning phase is better because of his 15% passive. So it's just like there's lots of reasons. But that is why I moved LeBlanc down to tier 3. New champs added time. Yay! Riven has been placed into tier 4.